The Milwaukee Bucks' reign as the NBA's most disappointing team lasted about a week. But no one's taking that title from the Los Angeles Clippers, who deserve every ounce of criticism coming their way after their bubble debacle. When the Clippers acquired Kawhi Leonard and Paul George in the summer of 2019, many assumed it was the start of a potential dynasty.
Pretty cool! Pretty damn cool! Wow!
But just 1 year later, after another embarrassing collapse in the second round of the playoffs, it looks like those assumptions were premature. And if the Clippers can't bounce back quickly, the franchise could be in for long-term pain. A reality its fans know all too well. We could dedicate an entire episode to the Clippers' meltdown against the Nuggets alone. LA not only blew a 3-1 series lead for the second time in 6 seasons, the Clippers blew second half leads of 16 points, 19 points, and 12 points respectively in games 5, 6, and 7. Denver won the second halves of those 3 games by an average of 21.3 points. And when the Nuggets started to pull away in the fourth quarter of Game 7, and the Clippers had the opportunity to prove themselves in the face of the same adversity Denver has overcome so many times, the Clippers self-destructed and folded instead.
He's double teamed, has to throw it back out, throws it away. Gary Harris drives down a lane, layup shot, rattles around and drops through.
And there's plenty of blame to go around. Trivia question. Which coach owns the worst clinching game record in NBA playoff history? That would be Doc Rivers. 7 years into his Clippers tenure, Rivers has yet to coach this team to a conference finals. And he had a bad series against Denver. He let Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic absolutely cook Lou Williams and Montrezl Harrell in pick and rolls, and relied on those 2 super subs too much in general.
I'm the coach, and I'll take any blame for it, but we didn't meet our expectations, clearly. Because we had, in my opinion, we'd still be playing.
Ivica Zubac and JaMychal Green both should have played more at Harrell's expense. Lemon Pepper Lou was bricking uncontested layups. And the Clippers, as a team, just never kept their foot on the gas. They were way too content celebrating their catch instead of actually going in for the kill. Whether it was due to chemistry issues, injuries, fatigue, or whatever other excuse the Clippers and their fans will come up with, that lack of killer instinct plagued the Clippers all season, when the team coasted through games before assuming they could turn on the proverbial switch all truly great teams have. The problem with this Clippers team is that they weren't anywhere near dominant enough to be that arrogant. The Clippers may have been the league's loudest team. Just ask Damian Lillard.
This was after the Lillard miss. Morris and Beverly reacting.
But the fact of the matter is that at their core, the 2019-20 Clippers were still mostly just a bunch of scrappy reserves who suddenly started carrying themselves like champions because Kawhi, and to a lesser extent PG, showed up.
Prices just went up. Don't talk to us. Don't talk to us.
For doubters who watched the Clippers run their mouths all season, their demise, which was as spectacular as the team was boisterous, was some well-deserved comeuppance. Having said that, those scrappy reserves would still be talking, and the Clippers would still be playing right now had Leonard and George played up to their capabilities. By now, you all know about playoff P's playoff struggles. George was way too inconsistent this postseason for a player being relied upon as the number 2 option on a championship favorite. And he saved perhaps his worst for last. The guy for whom Los Angeles traded Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Danilo Gallinari, and 5 first-round picks, plus 2 pick swaps, scored 10 points on 4 of 16 shooting in Game 7, turning the ball over 5 times while recording just 2 assists.
Damn it! Is that goal regulation size or what?
Hell, George hit the side of the backboard on his Game 7 three-point attempts as often as he got to the free throw line in Game 7. Once.
Raindrops.
Kawhi's Game 7 performance was unsettling in its own right. When the chips are down in must-win scenarios, we had gotten so used to a forceful Leonard taking control in every conceivable way. In big games and do-or-die moments, Kawhi had almost become inevitable.
Steal. He has Giannis behind him. Gets to Leonard. Leonard with the steal. And Leonard puts it in.
Defended by Simmons. Is this the dagger?
There's a reason he had won 6 straight playoff series dating back to 2017. Every great player loses their jumper in a big game at some point in their career. Even Leonard himself struggled through a poor shooting performance before his 4-bounce prayer was answered in Toronto's Game 7 win over Philly. The difference then was that Leonard took 39 shots and got to the free throw line 8 times, going for broke as legends of his stature are known to do. What was so jarring about Kawhi's Game 7 performance this time around was how passive he was, finishing with just 14 points on 24 possessions without attempting a single free throw despite playing a game-high 44 minutes. The Clippers mortgaged their future, and then some, to acquire George as part of their grand plan to land Leonard. Remember, they don't control their own first-round pick until 2027. And in the end of their first year together, with the Clippers season on the line, that star duo combined for 24 points on 10 of 38 shooting. The Clippers didn't just sell the farm for these guys. They damn near sold every farm within a 10-mile radius, with the understanding that nothing compares to superstar talent in the playoffs, and nothing is bigger than the here and now. And then with their backs against the wall in the fourth quarter of Game 7, they watched Patrick Beverley hold his pose as he bricked jumpers, and Marcus Morris try to post up Jokic, while Leonard and George combined to go 0 for 11 over the final 12 minutes of their season. Okay, I'm getting too worked up all over again. Enough about Game 7 and the past. What does this have to do with the future? Glad you asked. For one, the Clippers, a franchise going on a half-century of existence without even a conference finals berth, blew a golden opportunity in a pretty wide-open title race. And the field of contenders should be deeper next year, with none of the 2020 championship hopefuls expected to fall back. And don't forget the return of the healthy Warriors, the potential of the KD, Kyrie, and Steve Nash-led Nets, and the continued rise of Luka Doncic's Mavericks, who already pushed the Clippers to 6 games. The Clippers, who only have the free agencies of Harrell and Morris to worry about, will still be in the mix. But assuming a talented team that came up short will get plenty of additional opportunities is fool's gold. Ask the 2012 Thunder, 2018 Rockets, and countless other teams over the years who came to realize that their first good chance to win a championship ended up being their best chance. And then, of course, we come to the 2021 offseason. It's known as the year of Giannis, but don't forget that among a long list of potential star free agents, Leonard and George can both decline player options that would make them unrestricted free agents too. Is the safe money on them staying in LA? Sure, they're both back home in Southern California and would continue to contend for titles together. But a year in the NBA can feel like an eternity, especially when it comes to the whims of superstar players who control their own destiny like never before. So if you think both players staying put beyond 2021 is a foregone conclusion, you haven't been paying attention. And if you think this is bad, just wait. Things could get Steve Ballmer jamming to Fergie levels of bad for the Clippers pretty damn soon. Imploding the way the 2020 Clippers did was a disaster. If they come up short again in 2021 and lose even one of Kawhi or PG after all they sacrificed to acquire them, it will be cataclysmic for LA's little brother franchise that's never been able to escape the Lakers' shadow.
There was nobody there. I mean, there was a triple-double meant there were 3 couples in the audience.
They were the San Diego Clippers.
Yeah.
For now, the Clippers must deal with their 2020 failures, and with the endless social media slander they've brought upon themselves.
I know what your problem is.
You do?
You're just like me. Trash!
The Clippers entered the season, and just about every arena they strutted into this year with a bang. They left, like so many Clippers teams before them, with the most embarrassing of whimpers. Thanks for watching. If you like this video and want to see more content like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button.